from Cape Coral, Florida. I am of the opinion that if Kwesi and KOC cannot get their guy by trading up, we should stay at 11-23 and see what KOC can do with Sam Darnold, period.
Let's go, Darnold!
After all, he was the third pick of the draft.
Yeah, years ago.
A lot of talent evaluators saw something in the kid. Let's give him a chance.
Okay, all right. Well, there's that. So some people are on board with that. Let's Talkback machine. It's Talkbacks for tickets.
Yep. Yeah, Drew here. This class is loaded with 40 to 50 first-round caliber prospects. Now, I know people might not like to hear this coming out of the Spielman era, but what if we trade back from 11, get more capital, maybe some this year, maybe some next year, and we attack positions of need? We can get corner, we can get an offensive line, an edge rusher, all these positions to help bolster up the squad, and then we take a ride with Sammy D, baby.
As an aside, I now see it on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith leading First Take, talking about the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
And I saw it over the weekend on NBA TV. It's how many Eastern Conference players overall, Tatum, Giannis, Bulldog, all of them.
Right.
How many Eastern Conference players are you taking over Jalen Brunson?
That's on the screen right now?
Who saw the metamorphosis and the wing spreading of Jalen Brunson, last September?
The Con!
That would be the Con. And he played for the Con artist and elevated him to the top 4. Now, they took an L, but the Con, an emerging elite basketball mind, saw all of this before anybody discussing it on First Take. Give him the credit he so richly deserves. Fade the music, fire up 9 to noon, please. Pretty please. The A guy or the guy? The first of the 10 from 10 for 10. Well, what if the belief is between Daniels, May, and McCarthy, they're all the same guy for different reasons?
Okay.
And they are loved exponentially more than reachable quarterbacks from recent drafts. More so than... so they're all the same, but for different reasons. Cool, no matter which one we would end up with. We would prefer, if they were opening veins, we would prefer this one.
Right.
Incrementally clear from this one, and why? Here they come down to the finish line. Daniels, May, and McCarthy spread across the track into the final football field. Daniels surging on the inside. May continuing to fight back. McCarthy indefatigable. They hit the wire. Bam! 3-horse photo separated by noses. That's, if you look at it, if they look at it that way, then A guy becomes the guy.
Yes.
And you got 3 cracks at him. I mean, you got a crack at 3 of them.
So you're trifecta boxing this thing. If that's,
absolutely.
If that's the mindset, and let's just do it, it's Daniels, it's May, and McCarthy, we'll say. And that's the trifecta box.
Yeah.
And no matter what, you think that you can win potentially at the highest of levels with either of these. Well,
in normal drafts, what was laid out as number 1 on the 10 from 10 for 10, that's 87%. Absolutely dead on it.
Yeah.
Super fair to spend multiple segments analyzing. Personally speaking, I don't believe that's the case this year. Now, Penix, Nix, Rattler, again, there are going to be a handful potentially after the top 4. Chavis brought this up the other day, where 2-3 years from now, they're going to hit systems and it works and they get second contracts as starters. And, there are X amount of quarterbacks in this draft where I believe within their first 25 to 30 games, Cousins and what we knew and what we saw should be the baseline. No, that should be the baseline. So now you have more youthful vigor simply by age. They all have mobility that like Kirk didn't have. And remember that season where Zimmer was the coach, can't remember the coordinator, Clint Kubiak maybe, and Kirk's going to run a little more?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, some of it worked. Remember at Kansas City when they needed like 8 or 10 for a first down?
Yeah.
And he took off. Kirk's on the run, pedal to the metal.
And you're ready to hit him with first down.
First down, chains move, fresh 4, coming. And he slid 2 yards short of the first down, even though he could have gotten the first down.
That's 2019.
Right. Why?
We lost to Matt Moore, didn't we?
Yes. Yes. Wow, it was Matt Moore. That's the first time I saw Patrick Mahomes in person. And I'm doing Vikings Football Sunday with Muss. And it's like, I don't know, 10:04 Central. There's Mahomes, like stretching and rolling around the field. And I'm like, when I'm 10 feet from, this is unbelievable how this guy looks in person with the legs and the thickness, and he's tall and the muscles and the hair. So he moved me that way at that moment. Clearly has moved everybody else, not only with his physique, but the way he plays. But the point here is what is natural and unnatural for these three that we will be discussing. And for Kirk, like on the running bit, I think he's run for 19 touchdowns, something like that. So, I mean, he's run into the end zone. Kirk has he had a run, the Joseph game that I messed up at the end. Kirk had a run in that game that I think is his career long.
Well, that was at U.S. Bank Stadium.
Oh, it was?
It was against the Cardinals, though.
Got it.
Because it was Marcus Golden or somebody trying to turn the corner, and Kirk got him to the pylon.
Oh, that's right, when he turned the corner right side.
Yeah, near side, yep.
Yes, but he had like a 21-yard run, I thought, at Arizona, but it doesn't matter. Running as a thing is not natural for Kirk Cousins. For Jaden Daniels, it's preferred. For Drake May and J.J. McCarthy, it's natural.
Yeah.
And that's not an affront to Daniels like he can't pass, because he can pass. But it's a guy or the guy. It's just my belief at this stage of the equation, those three all have the guy to them, just for different reasons.
And if that ends up being the case, then that's awesome. The idea behind putting that take into the mist here, for texts and talkbacks is,
well, your face has changed.
My face has changed?
Yeah, I mean, Ricky Rubio was the first to point it out that I need to change my face when he was like pouting on the court too much or whatever, but I need to change my face.
Yeah, was that Shved maybe? Alexi Shved?
And I might be, I mean, if I'm wrong here and I'm speaking for you, I apologize. Please correct me. But I think the last time you and I were discussing something like this on or off the air, I don't think there are too many people in the country who are more excited to trade up to get a quarterback than you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what flipped?
Well, I still am excited for that premise. But that is where, so philosophically talking about, that's what I mean, is it goes back to the idea that the Vikings have put themselves into this position. And it was a week or two ago, Rick Spielman was discussing the idea that, this is what they have to do, and they're going to overpay to do it. Mm-hmm. So a little bit of subjectivity in terms of the overpaying aspect of it, but in the end, they have to move up.
Yeah.
And so thinking about it in what I mentioned about Jaden Daniels, if you think Jaden Daniels, or like a year ago when Kwesi said the only guy we would have been interested in trading up for was Bryce Young. So if that is accurate, let's say Jaden Daniels is your guy, and Jaden Daniels goes number 2.
Well, are
you still interested in flirting with New England or flirting with the Cardinals?
But we have to go in reverse. Sorry to cut you off and clomp. Is a trade up for Anthony Richardson would have surprised me less than a trade up for Bryce Young. So somebody can say this is, and I know what you're talking about, but it's like getting him at 1 is, I mean, you can say that about ones or those who go around there and you're in the 20s for the rest of your life.
Right.
And nobody can, you're not going to do it on a lie detector test. So nobody's ever going to know the right answer. Now, there were things that popped up, I think, through Gessling in the Star Tribune about Anthony Richardson. And where'd he go? 3?
He went 4 to the Colts.
Okay.
There was the ESPN guy, Brett Coleman or somebody like that said that they had an offer on the table to basically give away the franchise.
The Vikings?
Yes. To get Anthony Richardson.
And I think that was the perception. It was going to be available 7 to 10. So 3-4, that's farm, house, side house, lake house, Myrtle Beach. That's the whole thing.
Right.
So anyway.
But philosophically, whether it was Bryce Young, and I'm not saying, and again, you're right. You could sit at 23 like the Vikings did. They get Addison and say that the only person we were even remotely interested in trading up for is the guy that was obviously going to go top 2. Mm-hmm. Similarly, this year, if your favorite guy, and it isn't incrementally, it's Grand Canyon-esque chasm between Jaden Daniels and Drake May and then down to JJ. My only point in this is going back to 2011. The team takes Christian Ponder, not necessarily because Christian Ponder was a guy that they identified. Christian Ponder was a guy that existed and was there and available when they took him at 11. Mm-hmm. So if Jaden Daniels is your guy, or 11th hour, Washington's like, you know what, let's go back-to-back Tar Heels. Okay, didn't work out with Sam Howell. We're going to take his best buddy, Drake May, and we're going to draft him second. So now Jaden's available. But Drake May was your guy. Are you still going to move up to get a guy?
Yeah.
Versus who, again, the quarterback-coach marriage that KOC's talked about many times, as important as that is. Does he believe equally that he can consummate that marriage with either one of those 3 and he can make plays and win a ton of games? Or if it's their guy and he's gone at 2, you got to start thinking about chilling. And then suddenly it's Penix and Nick Omai and suddenly Spencer Rattler with a day 3 appearance type of thing. So
you're laying this out nicely.
A guy. That's my thing.
Right. But my only answer is all 3 are the guy.
And then if that is the case,
I can't possibly state that is the case. It's one of those, okay, well, if we're going to put the guy in the middle and they're going to tell the truth because there's a bet at stake, that's the take I would have. Is that I wouldn't describe these guys as just a guy.
Right. And so therefore if we're putting faith in this regime that they have identified the guy or multiple the guys, well, giddy up, move up, and handle business and eliminate the drama on Thursday night.
The 2011 piece that you tripped on, well, that ties into this because I believe the Vikings, let's see, it's 2011 draft, so 2010, bad year.
Yeah, 6-10.
They're at the Senior Bowl. Don't know if they're coaching the Senior Bowl staff or the Senior Bowl. Okay, there was one year the Vikings coached one of the Senior Bowl teams. Well, Russell Wilson was the quarterback for their team. And doesn't matter who said it.
That would have been 2012, right?
Yeah, doesn't matter. It's metaphorical water under a proverbial bridge. But you couldn't have heard any more glowing things about a person heading into the next stage of your career than I or maybe some did about Russell Wilson. Born leader, does this, does that, runs, big arm, accurate, draws it up on the chalkboard spectacularly. But he's 5'3". But he's too little. But transfer this, too little. Well, he went in the 3rd round. So, multiple teams passed on him multiple times because of that. 2011, that guy was Jake Locker. And it's either the Vikings coached the Senior Bowl team, somehow they fell in love with Jake Locker's leadership. And that's the one I believe they wanted. So I don't remember what was shared or spread up to the draft. Ponder always was the guy. We liked all of them, and we would have taken all of them, but Christian was the one that we liked the most. Cam goes first, take him out of the equation, make him Caleb Williams. Locker was the one where, you see here, if what I'm saying is true, then that ties into this year. Because if you believe Locker, Gabbert, and Ponder, in really, with all due respect, we've now Seen a very low rated race. I mean, we got.
Hey, props to Blaine though for finding his way on rosters for north of a decade now.
Good job, brother. But for first round quarterbacks, as the guy, or this is it.
This was the essence of a guy.
That wasn't it. It was the essence of Jag, just a guy. But if they wanted Locker and felt they could sit wherever they sat to get him, didn't work. Got sniped. So McCarthy, May, Daniels. We're chill. We're good. We're good. What? Well, you didn't say what? Well, you didn't say, when we talked about, but game changes, competitive business. It's not for the weak of heart. It's not for the faint of heart. So you just got to be careful when you're doing, no matter if you're giving 3 first-round picks, you have to be careful because it benefits teams from a business standpoint to play other teams against each other and to lie.
Yeah.
It benefits people to lie in this situation, which is not a big shocker given the entity we're talking about. But we digress. So, it's here we are 10 days in front of it. Now we're 4 days in front of it. Now it's day of. Now Caleb Williams goes. We got it. Cool. It's going to be good. Then
Ready to go.
Then you call. And as you're calling, you look up there with the 3rd pick in the 2024 National Football League draft. We have a trade. The Las Vegas Raiders select Drake May, quarterback, North Carolina. What happened?
Yeah.
It's like, what happened? I mean, like with KD, Booker, and Beal and Grayson, what happened? How come it's never close? So you just got to be careful of that. But
well, and it's funny.
I'm not playing the right game to play here. Okay. The right way to play Monopoly is to play it by the rules and try to stick Abbott with Baltic and Mediterranean. Try to get into Lieber's neighborhood with those orange properties, or try to get into Sauce's neighborhood with like Marvin Gardens. But we're all searching for Boardwalk and Park Place.
Yeah.
So that's the right way to play the game.
That's Barrero's neighborhood.
The best way, but the way this game is played, it is won by those who hide their $500 bills below the board to make it look like they only have $275 and they're stuck. And all of a sudden they whip out 6 orange pieces of paper. Let's play. So there's deception.
Yeah.
They're the right way to play the game, which you're describing. 2 first-round picks, voids in a fair amount of places, mostly would be perceived defensively, pass rushing, defensive. Brian Flores is fantastic at his job. And now you have, for better or for worse, analyze it however you want, Smith, Bynum, Metellus, Evans, Blackman,
Murphy,
Bullard, Phillips, all of them. Now it should be second nature. It should be quick twitch. Okay. And there was a patch last year with rather obscure names where Flores had the back of a failing offense. And when I say failing, it's not like they weren't rolling up and down the field putting up yards. The freaking fumbles. And they kept fumbling inside the 20, inside the bad 20, the negative 20 when you're starting to drive. Flores defense, let's buck up.
Yeah.
You got Sung Young Ho. What's the guy's name?
Sung Young Koo?
Wei Young Ho. Yo Ho.
Oh, Young Wei Koo.
Young Wei Koo?
Falcons kicker.
Yeah, but one of the words looks like Ho.
Yeah, but it's Young Wei.
Got it. Young Wei, yeah. So, Atlanta's feeling good about itself. Flores' defense might have sent them the other way 10 yards. Field goal, Lambeau. There it is. It's they get in trouble again. And it's nearing the end of the game.
Oh, it was the Jaron Hall pick, right?
It was the strip sack. Preston Smith got him.
Inside the 15, maybe.
Right around there.
And they stuck him.
Well, they went backwards. Love and crew went backwards, went for it on 4th and goal and got shut down.
Yeah.
So Flores defense, the
Well, they ran out of gas last year.
Correct.
I go back to
I would bet that
Harrison Phillips and some of these guys playing career high in snaps. It led to career high in production. Lack of bodies, man. I mean,
so yes,
old people get tired.
Turner, Verse, super special Toledo corner, something called Kool-Aid, Chop. They're all good. That's great. Dynamite. Best of luck to you, AJ Epinesa. Best of luck to you the rest of your career.
Yetur Gross-Matos.
I don't give a flying bleep what they give up to get one of these three quarterbacks. Just do it. I don't care. I couldn't care less. This has nothing. Oh, well, you've called games for him for 20 whatever years. You got to be close to the end. It's, it's nothing to lose. No, I care about the structure and totality of the team. Just by calling the games or being a fan or doing the show, it's not, I would never be, I would never say voice of the fans, but we are you are us. We just have different jobs. So I get the fortify here, fortify there, trade back, add. Yes, it all makes sense. Not this year. Nope. The 2022 draft, with all due respect, might be an utter failure. How much did it set the team back? So you're still playing from that. Move forward. Things got better. Addison, Pace, and the underrated facet of Kwesi Adofo-Mensah's work that not many talk about, we do here because it matters. Getting the roster younger and finding free agency money so that like say you have Jefferson signed before the season. You'll still have like $90 million under the cap.
Yeah.
To get the new Grenards and the new Van Ginkels and the new Cashmans and the new Aaron Jones. Well, that wasn't the case for a long time with that metaphorical window open.
Yeah, like 15 years, it wasn't the case.
So that counts too in the equation of how somebody's handling a job. So we start off behind a proverbial 8-ball, and it ain't great. But it's gradually gotten better in certain areas. That can't be disputed. However, like I said last week, is my man, the general manager, emptied his holster in free agency and eyeballing Dalvin Cook and saying you have to leave is not easy. Eyeballing Kendricks, who has Vikings linebacking immortality, and asking him to leave is not easy. But, again, another thing people don't bring up. Got out on Kendricks on the right time, at the right time. Got out on Cook probably at the right time. That counts too.
Yeah.
But none of it matters. Of course it matters, but let's speak in grandiose metaphorical fashion.
Right. All of that is secondary.
All of secondary, correct. Not matters is too strong. To me, it doesn't matter. So people can frame up the semantics however they want. If the silver bullet in your holster does not hit the beast known as the next quarterback in a quarterback-rich, thick, deep, talented draft, then it's all secondary, as you would say. That beast has to hit. That bullet has to hit the beast. It's the silver bullet. Especially if you look at the way the division's going, man, and that's a separate conversation. We know it, but we don't really talk about it that much, but they're all heading the right way in a hurry.
Yeah.
And your silver bullet needs to slay that beast, not known as the werewolf, but known as the future quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. And you have the currency. Will you have the partner? I believe you will. And it has to. So, okay, boom, got him. Silver bullet hit. No, it didn't. Guy's got to play. Guy's got to be able to play. Okay? I mean, if the werewolf turns into Frankenstein and runs like Cousins, we're in trouble. So the silver bullet has to hit, but the beast has to stay hit.
Have you been watching some Turner Classics lately?
I have no idea where I was going with all of that, but I think I got it home. All right. Yeah. So
get the guy.
Yep.
That's it. Get your guy.
Right. I'm trying to say it differently from the way I hear it 8,000 times. Get your guy is probably the best way to do it. You understand what I'm saying? Be right back.
Welcome back, 9 to noon, and we're going to kick things off with thanks to Clear Cut Exteriors.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, wait, it's just Clear Cut clip of the week.
3-2. Welcome back to the second half of the 9 to noon show. Clear Cut Exteriors is a company that does multiple things to amplify the outdoor experience of your house. In fact, there's somebody who sent a really nice some Google-related praise with a rating to yours truly last week, which is very nice. And I guess they get a lot of those. But Clear Cut Exteriors will jump on your roof at no charge and analyze whether you need anything done. Thus, the Clear Cut Exteriors clip from the weekend is part of the Monday 9 to noon extravaganza. And for this Monday, it's this.
Scotty Scheffler on staying calm. Final round of the Masters.
How did you stay so calm with all of that?
Yeah, I did my best. I tried to stay patient on the course and was able to make some key shots and key putts today to kind of keep my round going. And, Ludwig played great today. He made a good move at me there on the back nine. And, I was fortunate to kind of hold him off there towards the end.
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler wins his second Masters in the last 3 years. PA 11 under, had a 4-stroke finish lead over Ludwig Oberg. And then behind him, Tommy Fleetwood, Max Homa, Colin Morikawa, finishing tied for third. He was staying calm because his wife is about ready to give birth to a baby. So I'm at lunch yesterday, and I had to check in with Molly and say, hey, okay, so if I'm on the verge of winning the Masters and you go into labor, what's the play here? Now, Scotty Scheffler said he had an escape plan, so that's all good.
Yeah.
Molly, she says, well, that's how we're feeding the family.
Yeah.
Go ahead and win the Masters.
Scotty Scheffler is, and I'm going to put golf in with the core four of team sports. I mean, this is an individual game. Okay, it's a sport, but for the context of the conversation, it's a game. I guess you have a team, and your teammate would be your caddy, and that undoubtedly matters with whatever the caddy offers during the course of a run, which probably is a lot. But when I'm thinking 5-on-5, 11-on-11, or whatever, it's in an individual type sport like tennis. But I'm going to put it in with superstars from all sports. What an incredibly humble human being Scotty Scheffler is.
He's great.
I mean, he is just, you watch him after amazing shots, or how he handles problems or consternation or bad shots. I mean, like awful shots or missing like little tiny short putts. Tantrums, throwing clubs, dropping F-bombs like Zach Johnson. That doesn't seem to be the case with him. He seems to be super even-keeled, incredibly humble, and that of humility. So I watch golf 4 times a year. And with Scotty Scheffler, I'm a fan. And I'm also a fan of Clear Cut Exteriors. ClearCutExteriors.com for free roof analysis. It is exteriors with an X. And Clear Cut, thank you for the Clear Cut clip from the weekend.
A couple more for you here to close. NDN, first to baseball. Twins split in Detroit. They win the doubleheader on Saturday, but they bookended that with Friday and Sunday losses. Carlos Correa, kind of news over the weekend. He's to the 10-day IL with an oblique strain.
Yeah.
So you got Duran, who had his oblique strain in mid-March, still not back yet, I don't believe. Now we got Royce Lewis, just trying to round second base, and he's out for a month. And now Carlos Correa. So continuing to weather injuries, theme of the day and theme of the month so far for the Twins. They're at Baltimore, and then they're home versus the Tigers starting on Friday. To the NBA, PA.
Just quickly, what the hell happened yesterday? I mean, it's a team.
They had the 3-0 lead, right?
Right. I think they're 6-8. All right. But, I mean, they kicked the bleep out of the Tigers in that doubleheader. I mean, we're running around bases like it's like Kirby, God rest his soul, Herbeck, Gaetti, Gladden in the gang, and like really good World Series winning teams like that. So granted, we score 3 the next day, which is quite Twins-esque for 2024, but they're winning 3-0 in the bottom of the 8th.
Right.
So it looks like this is going to be a dub. It's going to be 3 in a row. It's going to be 3 in a row, 4 rock go, 3 in a row, 4 rock go. So I didn't watch that part of the game. Clearly, it's the bullpen. Ober in the brief part I was watching was terrific. I mean, he I thought he was
6 shutout, 3K. I don't.
My man was in charge.
Hits. Yeah, absolutely.
But so I don't know the names. I mean, it's the bullpen. I get it. But holy cow, 4 in 1 inning after scoring none the entire game and struggling to score the previous day in a doubleheader. That's baseball, I guess.
Yeah, Thielbar got beat up.
Was it Thielbar?
It was Thielbar, and Griffin Jacks came in. He might have gotten tagged for an extra one.
Yeah, when you're when you are a team of this caliber, whether you think it's high end or lack thereof, and you're losing more than you're winning, and you're going punchless into virtually every day and every night, and you got a 3-0 lead on the road against a team that might win the division, and you're into the bottom of the 8th, that has to be a victory. I don't care if it's a marathon or a sprint. For a team made up like this team, that has to be a dub. That's kind of a bad loss.
Speaking of bad losses, or at least tough losses, the Wolves weren't able to figure out the Phoenix Suns this year. 0-3 against the Suns, the only team in the West that they didn't win, and maybe the only team in the West they didn't have at least a 500 record against. But the Wolves lose 125-106 yesterday. And as part of that, because Oklahoma City and Denver both won, OKC's your number 1 seed in the West. They're waiting for play-in action. The Denver Nuggets waiting for play-in action as the number 2 seed. And the Minnesota Timberwolves are actually playing the Phoenix Suns. So hopefully yesterday is not indicative of the series. But I want to hit you with this, though. Play-in games. So LA is at the Pelicans this week for this 7-8 play-in. And the winner of that game, Pelicans hosting the Lakers, will be the 7th seed, and they'll go to Denver. The 9 and 10 play-in, the Kings and the Warriors. So it's going to be
Bay Area funk, baby.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. And we were playing that game of who do you want to face, where do you want to sit. Even if we win yesterday, I think we still end up the 2nd seed. Mm-hmm. So if we move on, we're hosting the Nuggets instead of going to Denver. Yeah, me too.
Well, it's just I've watched all 3 of the games this year, and I'm not going to say they can't beat them. But man, oh man, have those 3. That 87. Yesterday, the first quarter was ridiculous.
Yeah.
How they had one level of intensity and teamwork and physicality. And with all due respect, we weren't close.
Right.
So then it evened out a little bit once Bradley Beal and Anthony Edwards Bradley Beal tried to goad Anthony Edwards into a fight.
Well, and he talked about it after the game, too, and that's their goal.
Yeah.
If you look at Anthony Edwards this year, the rising star that he absolutely is, 14 points a game he averaged against the Suns. Like, they figure out a way to limit him, frustrate him.
Yeah.
Maybe not as overtly in the previous games as it was yesterday.
Yeah.
But that's their mission, is shut him down and then say, what else are you going to do?
Well, guess what? If Edwards gets thrown out, we have less than a 5% chance to beat them.
Correct.
If Booker, Durant, or Beal get thrown out, they have more than a 5% chance of beating us.
And that's the problem. Yesterday it was Beal for 36. Booker can go off. I think in the first matchup of the year it was Kevin Durant who couldn't miss a freaking shot in the game. So this team throughout the year, I just can't wait. You're going to have Grady. You're going to have Jim Pete in studio here at the top of the hour to dig into it. The first quarter team that the Wolves have been this season, they didn't do that yesterday. So if you look at that small sample size, whatever happened yesterday during the first quarter, all those turnovers, 8 or 10 in the first quarter alone, like 20 in the first half, obviously that can never happen again. But jumping out of the gates for this team, they're a fast start operation. They've been a third quarter close the door operation for the most part this year. Let's find those things. Finchie's got 5 days to put it all together for Saturday.
Okay, a couple of nuggets for you. A couple of tidbits from the Wolves and the Suns this year. I heard Alan Horton say this on the radio yesterday. Of the 5 largest deficits the Wolves have had this year, 3 of them have taken place against Phoenix. So, if we're getting our down 30 on, it's generally either here against them or in the Valley of No Fun. Secondly, the Timberwolves were never within single digits versus Phoenix in any second half this season.
Okay.
So we got 6 quarters for a grand total of 24, 48, 72. So we got 72 minutes of basketball, and we never were down.
Just even like a 9?
9 or fewer. It was always 10 or more. Yet, I can't. It's looking at scoresandodds.com. I think that's where I looked last night. The Wolves are favored by 1.5 in game 1, and the series is 50-50. It's like 115 both ways. Are you? Seriously?
No, it's.
I can't believe what I'm seeing.
whatever that matchup is. Like, hey, look at how well the Wolves match up against the Clippers. We've seen different variations of this team, by the way. Cat back in the mix yesterday, wasn't in the mix for the low-scoring one. Was that in Phoenix, I think, the one a couple of weeks ago?
Yes.
And then the blowout earlier on, they got us from the beginning. That was very similar to yesterday. So what?
Cat was the only shining point when they scored 133 on us or whatever in that first game. Yeah, I think Cat had a big game in that game.
Okay, so, where are the outliers in those 3 games? Is it the weird low-scoring bit?
We'll figure it out.
Exactly. So,
and we'll lay on it segment after segment after segment the rest of the week.
And Finch and Mike Nori and company have to figure that out, too. That's News to Nord, brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park, by the way. It's poker, it's blackjack, table games all year round. CanterburyPark.com to find the live racing schedule. Only spot you should figure out how to spend time with your family all summer long at Canterbury.
Yeah, thank you for that. Now, Michael Grady and Jim Peterson, who call Timberwolves games on TV, they will be in studio with the 9 to noon team about 15 minutes from now. And we're excited about that. Much more around the corner. It's KFAN.
It may be April right now, but come the 25th, I think it's going to look a lot like May.
Mayday! 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 McCarthy takes the snap, fakes the handoff to Jones, shakes the shoulders, fires deep left side to Jefferson. JJ! Lead! It's 23-20 Minnesota.
All right. Paul, I've got a take for you. I think J.J. McCarthy is this year's Will Levis. I track drafts every year,
right? And
mock drafts specifically. I look at what the analysts say.
Yep.
I think just about everyone had Will Levis in the top 12 last year. A lot of them had him number 4. A couple people even at number 2. And look what happened to him. I think the same thing might happen with JJ this year.
Well, I like the talkback a lot because went in there daggering some significant points, offered up a comparison. I don't happen to completely agree with the comparison, but then again, we haven't seen McCarthy play in the NFL. I like Will Levis more than most players do, off what I know from him last year. I don't know. I do know, but I mean, it's people overly glorify or are overly harsh about people too soon. Yeah. And you can make it a metaphor for life, or you can just look at NFL analysis. People jump. We don't have to score a touchdown on the first play every game. We don't have to implode the building because the concourses aren't wide enough. First time somebody says, this building sucks, time for a new one. I mean, so let's let Will play a little bit here.
Yeah.
Let's let Will play a little bit with a new coaching staff and no Derrick Henry, on whom, and he's good, but on whom you have to rely X amount of times a game. All game plans are built around a running game. Let's see what happens when all game plans are built around a passing game. With a receiver, they may take at like pick 6 or pick 7, wherever they are.
Pick 7, yeah.
So Levis, but when it comes to the everybody said, that's when I say I don't look at mock drafts because I don't want, and this is, again, I'm not even going to qualify it anymore because mock drafts are popular. People like to do it. I don't go for the everybody said because the everybody are those who select in the NFL. So everybody said Levis should fall about there. Not everybody said Jahmyr Gibbs should fall there, but enough did, including one. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, yeah, it's those laying out the subterfuge those looking for website clicks or those just flat lying and pretending they have sources, that's subterfuge season. That's the everybody said this should happen. That I can't follow that. I can't follow that. But on the other side of it, I'm not, going to lay out like a 1 through 32 of my own because I don't follow it. But 9 to noon says we don't follow it. So we have fun not following it. And an eagle either is going to land, which happened many, many years for yours truly, walking into the Power Trip mock draft and saying it's Anthony Barr, saying it's Percy Harvin, saying it's this. That's not the case anymore, and I like that because it helps us get to the answer different routes, and it just makes for more juicy, bountiful talkers where I think I have the answer, but I'm not completely sure.
To the talkback machine, more on these QBs. This guy doesn't want to take the risk of waiting.
Morning, fellas. I just wanted to ask, when Kwesi came aboard 3 years ago, was he asked by ownership to keep roster as it was, as opposed to kind of going to get his players right away, thinking ownership knew that they had a championship roster? So maybe now we're starting to see how Kwesi cooks with this free agent class that he brought in. And, of course, draft hasn't been great, but he's got a big one coming up here. So thoughts? Do you think the competitive rebuild from management is what forced him to do what he has?
Well, a big part of that conversation, thank you for the talkbacks, has been the fact that it feels like in some ways, and Kwesi has been asked this, he hasn't answered it in true forthright open book style, but the idea of getting younger and being more flexible, a term that has been indeed thrown about TCO down in Egan many times. Most recent example might be this transaction they did with the Texans, creating flexibility in the first round. Getting younger, more flexibility, and going and getting your guy seems to be on the to-do list for the general manager. Those talkbacks, free iHeartRadio app, hit the microphone, give us up to your best 30 seconds. And when we return, in studio, courtesy of Bally Sports North, the TV, the dynamic duo, Michael Grady, Jim Peterson, in studio, final hour, talking about the Wolves and Phoenix Suns as we enter the NBA playoffs, where you're home for the Howl, or you're home for 9 to noon. It's the Fan.